Hello, welcome to Dan Does. I'm Dan and I do be doing the doesings. This is episode 5 and I've been drawing. Believe it or not, this used to be a profession of mine to draw and I've not done it in many years. But look, I've drawn this, what would once upon a time be considered Lovecraftian. But we don't speak about Lovecraft anymore, so what we've got here is a design for a I have recorded this intro and outro twice now, and hopefully this is the one. Hello, welcome to Dan Does. I've got to remember to look at the lens and not the screen there. Hello, welcome to Dan Does. Today Dan does not be doing Binding of Isaac. I'm sorry to let you know. I hope that you're not too disappointed. I've moved on to my own project, which I'm going to be doing quite a lot from henceforth. We'll go back to Binding of Isaac one day, but if you watch the intro there, you would have seen the sketch I made. And I'm going to make that cosmic horror in this video. And I hope you like it. It's a bit different, isn't it? It's a bit different. Is this distracting? Hi everybody. On with the show. As with most sculpts, you start with armature wire. Look at this lovely shiny armature wire, and the reason it is so shiny is because I've got a moderately priced DSLR camera for the videos now. I spent the last of my life savings on a moderately priced DSLR camera just so these YouTube videos really pop, at the expense of trinkets, food, you know, life-sustaining goods. But as long as the YouTube videos look good. Get me some Cosclay. And take out my sling blade and cut me some grey Cosclay cheese. Have that with my French fried potatoes. That is a reference to the Billy Bob Thornton movie Sling Blade, for those of you that didn't get it. Enjoy. I'm running the Cosclay through the pasta maker, not because I want an even layer, but just because I find it's a lot easier to knead the clay if you just run it through this thing a few times, and it's fun. I'm just adding lumps of clay to this armature, building up the body of the beast where I see fit. I mean, it's going to be quite slender, slightly arched. To be honest, I'm as lost as you are at this point, but hopefully it comes together. It does, kinda. But you'll have to hang around to the end to see that, or you could just skip ahead. You could just skip right to the end. But then you'd miss out on this wonderful commentary, and probably other things. I haven't decided yet. Fattening the head, always an essential part of sculpting a creature. I'm not 100% sure what its face will look like at this point. I mean, this is future Dan. I know what the head will look like, but at this point I'm not sure. And in the sketches I had a lot of pink eyes, but I decided against that. I thought this thing is going to be very much about its maw. It's rows upon rows of teeth. So I'm going to save the eyes for another monster later on. This will be the teethy monster. The next one will be the eyeball monster. We could have an ear hole monster. I mean, it won't be as scary, but it hears everything you say. I've added lumps to its head, or tumours, as you could call them, just to make it a bit more interesting. Gonna have these all across the body. I think these large tumours. Using my pointy silicone-y rubbery thingy, I'm smoothing those tumours right into the scalp. Tumours don't need to be ugly. Let's make them as pretty as we can. I've smoothed this thing out with isopropyl alcohol, and I know this is something people do to get rid of fingerprints at the end of the process, but I tend to do this all the time, just to get constant smooth edges, just to smooth everything out. I thought there may be some kind of detriment to it, but I don't think there is. I'm using a ball stick to make some kind of... God, I just cracked my knuckles there, live while I'm doing a voiceover. That is very unprofessional. Anyway, I'll keep that in. I'm using a ball stick to make some eye sockets. I decided on very pinhole eyes. Actually, I think this was Bill Making Stuff's idea. I don't want to say it was my idea and then he says, "Oh, that was my idea," because that's what he sounds like. With a teeny ball stick, I'm going to start scraping out the top of its mouth, because the mouth goes from nose to balls. If you've seen the picture at the beginning of the video, nose to balls. Nose to balls. I don't know why it's bleeping that word out. It's not a rude word necessarily. I mean, I've said ball stick, bloody. Oh, you just beeped out ball from ball stick, did you? You're getting on my nerves, sensors. It's almost like there's no one behind the wheel. Like that, it's just automatic. Oh no! Wait, what happened? You can't just beep any old word. Hey, this is insane. Wait. I'm sorry. Do what you like. On with the video. God, I'm glad we can come to some kind of arrangement. We're up to our first bake. Now with Cosclay you can bake it as often as you like, as long as you bake it for the allotted time, the specified time on the packet, so it gets its full flexibility. You want to bake it, make sure it cools properly, and then you can just add more clay on top, which I do a lot of times in this video, because it's quite an intricate piece. Speaking of such intricacies, this is the lips that I'm pressing onto the baked torso there. This would be pointless if it was super sculpty, something like that. It would be too brittle. But with Cosclay, I can make this lip shape all the way around its torso and down to its balls. Got you that time. And it won't snap, it will be flexible. God, I love you, Cosclay. I'm rolling out some sausages of clay to make some ribs. I can't think of any. I mean, I've done every sausage I can think of. There aren't that many sausages, so from henceforth I'm just going to say sausage of clay, because I use a lot of sausages of clay and there aren't that many sausages in the world. With those ribs blended in nicely, I'm going to take a couple of balls of clay, couple of orbs of clay, and make shoulder blades on the back of the creature. Now, something I've learned in my time on planet Earth is not to neglect the details of the back. Because I know predominantly you're going to see the front. We must include details on the back. Yet I've managed to neglect to film me adding this spine. It was basically a sausage of clay pressed into the shape of a spine. And speaking of sausages, here's a really long one. I'm going to use this to surround the maw, the abyssal maw of the beast, to give it sort of jowls, so it looks like it's actually stretching its stomach open ferociously. Right, this next part was to add a bit more detail to the back. Now I imagined a creature with a mouth so large would need a stomach, or in this case several stomachs. It ends up with about 7 of them, not necessarily full, but unfortunately when they do end up looking a bit like balls. Oh, is there anything more lovely than a brand new packet of Fimo translucent clay, untouched by human hand? I'm going to use this to make countless teeth. Not countless, just I can't be bothered to count how many teeth there are. See you in a few hours. All that work and I've ended up with just a few grams of rice. That's not enough for a curry. Not even a small curry. Not even a, oh, I'm on a diet. I'll have a little bit of rice. That's not even enough for that. That's barely enough for a sushi roll. Now for these teeth to look truly embedded, I'd have to put these pre-baked teeth directly into the model. And with a bit of Super Sculpt bacon bond, press them in, gives the impression of gummage. Wurzel gummage. Anyone below the age of 40 and from across the seas probably have no idea who Wurzel gummage is, but he was terrifying. This was a kids show. I'm getting distracted. So I've done a lip of fresh clay on top of the baked clay to press the teeth into, giving that a bit of texture with ridges and things. Make it look a bit more like a lip. Juvenile. These are red, pink and brown coloured Fimo clays, and if you squeeze them hard enough into your hand, you can make the right flesh colour for the inside of a monster's mouth. But if you squeeze them too hard, you end up with diamonds. Stupid, worthless diamonds. Using Super Sculpt Bacon Bond, I'm going to smear this all over the inside of its mouth, and then press the reddish Fimo clay into the mouth. The purpose of this is I'm going to press the teeth inside the mouth, but when I paint it later on, and boy was I right, it would be a real pain to paint around those teeth. If you want to keep the translucency, is that a word? It is now. Of the teeth, you need to paint around them. You don't want to paint over them, otherwise it's pointless using Fimo translucent clay. Like a Turkish dentist, I'm pushing all of these teeth in for a discount price. I don't know if that's true. I just know that people go to Turkey to get new teeth. I don't know what it is about Turkey that means they have an abundance of teeth. I'm not going to show you the whole process. Well, we'll skip ahead via the magic of editing. And that is several hours of my life that I will never get back. But luckily, it looks alright. And just because there's red clay on the inside doesn't mean I'm not going to paint any of it. It's not going to be that flat, by the way. But I'm going to stick around to the end, and this point is moot if you want to see the end results. So enjoy the rest of the show. Time to take out your tooth chest. Every good household needs a tooth chest. I had plenty spare left over, so I'm going to chuck these inside here to join their friends. Quiet, you! Onto the legs now, and using this manipulation beak, going to get the pose. And boy, oh boy, do I hate legs. My least favourite thing to do. I mean, they're there to carry the weight of the entire model. And I'll tell you now, I forgot to consider that when I made this thing, but it's still standing, thankfully, if you were waiting for some kind of disaster. You will be sorely disappointed, my friend. To sculpt the feet, I'll need a base, and I've got this lovely real wood coaster that I bought from the Amazon in a pack of 4, but they've discontinued them, so it's rare. It's a collector's piece, but it's fine to sacrifice it for art. That's what they say. Using the pin vise, I'm going to make some holes for the ends of the wire to slot in. Actually use a pen for a change. Do you remember those? People used to use those to write words, kiddies, on paper. Ask your parents. They use that to mark out the spots and drill the holes and slot the thing in, and then fold the armature wire over underneath the base to hold it in place. But you don't see that because I'm a terrible cameraman. The term is probably camera person. I'll Google that. Cameraman is fine, I checked. So I'm going to start moulding the feet around the base there, ensuring it doesn't stick. Not that it will, but I need to remove it afterwards. And after doing these legs, it didn't occur to me at the time, but these are a little bit like duck legs. The feet sort of fan out. I mean, I give them some random claws to try and sort of disguise the fact that these are duck feet and duck legs. And it is my greatest regret to date. There's been a lot of huffing in this episode. I do apologise. And what would you call legs if they were hanging from your shoulders? Shoulder legs. But I'm not going to do shoulder legs, I'm going to do some arms. They're almost as troublesome as legs. But I got a little sneaky trick that you'll see later on. But using a pin vise, making some holes, sticking in some armature wire with some cheapy super glue. Oh, our friend Mr. Beep is back. Hello, Mr. Beep. Do you mind if I call you Mr. Beep? You're not saying anything? Balls, 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 balls. Oh, there you are. How about we get on? How do you feel about that? Hey, miss, there's no need for that. I'm using thinner armature wire for fingers. Only going to have 3 fingers, because if you can save on doing fingers, then you are truly blessed. Now, I've got the hands of Andre the Giant's uncle, and doing fiddly things like this is very difficult for me. So just know that it took a while to achieve this. Using some spare teeth from the tooth chest, poked those in for fingernails, and then baked it because I was not doing the arm again. Hang tough, strong and quick. Sounds impressive, doesn't it? It's the cheapest known superglue to humanity, but it does the job, usually with an added bit of bicarbonate of soda. Now, remember when I told you I had a cheat for the second arm? It's basically make a little stubby arm with just 1 finger. That's the cheat. Sorry if you're disappointed, but hey, it's my monster. I can do what I like. And then that's it. That's the final bake. And then on to the painting stage. But first, I have a little thing to show you.
Do you know what Patreon is? Patreon is a way of supporting YouTubers and making sure that they eat food and stuff. Thanks to people like Ed Trotz, Gemma Ingram, or even Carl Buckley. We have also got Andy Scott and Anthony Roberts, Benedict Murray, Demon Mittenhands, Carl Deegan, Mike Pitt, Rabies of Lad, Rich, and Gert from Dark Matter Workshop. We've also got this lot. Thanks everybody for helping me making YouTube videos. I do it either way, but thanks very much for supporting me. If you'd like to support me, then the link is in the info. Patreon! I'm doing this a lot. I'm doing this a lot. Thank you.
Time to paint. Going to paint this model in Old Rose. We're going to go for a pinky tone to start with, and then gradually go lighter, starting with Old Rose. Now, you would not believe how long this step took. Getting the paint in between those teeth, careful not to get paint on those teeth, and washing or scraping away the paint that did get onto those teeth. I have spared you. You need only see this edited version, but believe me, hours painting this undercoat. And that's all it is, it's an undercoat. Now, that was bone white just then. I'm going to gradually mix this Old Rose with bone white, getting lighter and lighter. And as each step comes along, it gets slightly easier because you don't have to get right into the crevices and the cracks. And just keep doing this, just subtly lighter. And then another step where it's subtly lighter than the last. Imagine a plastic salmon in a fishmonger's window, slowly bleached by the sun. That became lighter quicker than this model actually did. Now, after doing all of those gradual lighter stages, eventually just go in with the bone white and the sparkly makeup brush and do a dry brush. You should all know this by now, but if you don't, dry brushing is when you put a bit of paint on your brush and basically wipe near enough all of that paint off, so that when you brush it lightly on your model, it only catches the very tippity top parts of the model. Well, I've only gone and done it again, haven't I? I forgot to film painting the very centre of the mouth, but it's basically black with a gradient out into a dark maroon colour, just to get a nice gradient to give it a bit of depth, to make it look like an abyssal maw. I always look forward to this, but this is adding a wash to the teeth. Get those teeth nice and dirty and cruddy, looking like they need a good clean. Using sepia shade. Just slap it all in there. Have no regard. Now, this here is a makeup sponge. It looks like a marshmallow, but it's pretty good for getting in there and just dabbing off the excess. If you don't have a makeup sponge, then you could try a marshmallow, but it seems like a waste to me. The fingernails and the toenails get the same treatment as the teeth. You filthy, filthy boy. I'm using a Vallejo red ink now. This is my second red ink because the first one was weird and sticky and just did not work. But this one seems to be okay. I'm using this on the eye holes, if they even are eye holes. They could be nostrils. But I'm trying to make them look a bit sore, a bit red raw. I do the same thing along the lips. But I got a technique where I do it with one brush. I'll paint it on with one brush and then use another drier brush just to sort of smudge that in or take some off. It's always good to have a spare brush. I've just received a message from the head office. It's not red ink, it's red wash. Red wash. Anyway, I use it on all of the creases. Anywhere there's a bit of depth on the creature, you want this thing to look like it's in pain. If this thing looks like it's in pain, then it sort of automatically makes you feel uncomfortable, which is the goal of this. It is a cosmic horror. And I'm going to mention it now, because I'm sure more than one of you have thought this, but yes, the big opening on the front of the monster does look a bit like a female part. And if you thought that was yonic, how about a little bit of phallic? I'm drilling a hole here ready to add a tongue to the mouth, because it was on the original artwork and I thought I'd leave it to the end because of the intricacies of the teeth. And originally I was going to have the tongue touching the base to give it an extra bit of support, but that was too hard. So what did I do? Changed my mind and just had a smaller tongue sticking out of the mouth. Out of the yonic mouth. Attach the tongue with super glue and then it's done, ready to be mounted on a lovely one-of-a-kind or three-of-a-kind wooden coaster base. But I don't want it to be just plain black, which is what I do now. I paint the thing black now. But that's an undercoat, because what I want is for it to look like floorboards, old wooden floorboards. So I'm going to use lollipop sticks. And I only seem to have about 5 of the normal size lollipop sticks. The rest of them are these tiny little things, which is a bit of a pain in the butt. Thank you, Mr. Beep. But I make it work. I'm using wood glue for this. And wood glue takes forever to dry. So I will cut around the base to get a nice rounded edge on the planks. But I'll do that after I've weighed it down with some of my really massive weights, because I'm such a tough guy. I use them to stack up in front of the door at night in case bad men come. Once it's fully dry, give it a lovely sand all around the edges, make it flush. Oh, these are the crafting moments that make it worth it. I'm cutting at the wood with an art shiv at an angle, and then keep changing the angles to get loose chips of wood coming out to really rough it up. Especially when you use a Tin Man's moustache, just to scrub those splinters off. This here is Little Fair's water-based interior wood dye. Traditional wood colours, English oak, for an authentic hardwood appearance on softwood or hardwoods. I'm not sponsored or anything, it's just I really like this stuff. No need to paint the wood, I'm just going to stain it with this. The model's painted, the base is done, it's attached to the base. What's next? UV resin, the best part of the entire build. I'm going to slaver this thing with UV resin. And once it's covered, I'll take it out into the garden to dry in the sun. Works a little bit better than the Now Salon. The sun is slightly more powerful. I can almost hear you. What's that? Blue wool in your hand. Why you got blue wool? Well, I'll tell you what I've got blue wool, because I'm going to pull it apart into strands, and then using a very watered down wood glue, I'm going to make it look like veins. This technique I learned several years ago, maybe one or two, from Gert from Dark Matter Workshop. I picked up this technique from him, and I put a link to his channel in the information. And I've got this fire making device to burn away the excess hairs very lightly. Don't burn it too much. Those back stomachs truly look like testicles, don't they? Oh well. Here's the showcase. There you have it. That's the Cosmic Horror. We'll just call it Cosmic Horror now. Here he is. Here it is. I say it. It pretty much is a he. Oh, Jesus Christ. Mouthwash. Thank you. I quite enjoyed, especially making the mouth. The limbs not so much, but I'm quite happy with this thing. I mean, the pose could be better. The pose is a bit rigid, but I hope you liked it. And I'd just like to say before I go, thank you very much to my Patreons. And also, subscribe, like, comment. I don't know if that's subscribe, like, comment. I don't know if that's and then there's a drawing of a bell. I didn't even write. I don't know who wrote that on my hand. To be honest, it wasn't me. Anyway, I'm gonna go. So I'm gonna pretend I'm turning back to my workstation, ready to do some more work. In fact, I'm taking a break. Good evening. You still there?